We're talking hog mollies today as I'm going to give you my top 10 offensive tackles in the 2024 NFL draft class. I already gave you my guards and centers earlier today, so go check that video. But first, check this one out as number 10, Kiran Amegadjie out of Yale. That's right, we got a Yale kid up here on the list. And to be fair, this 10th spot was hotly disputed. Okay, I'll tell you that Garrett Greenfield from South Dakota State, Matt Goncalves from Pittsburgh were probably some of the guys that were kind of like gunning for this position. You could also make great cases, I think, for like Blake Fisher, Notre Dame, or Javon Foster, Mizzou. Ultimately, I gave it to Amegadjie because of tools. The dude's coming in at 6'5", 318, and he's a solid athlete. He's got good power to his frame, and he has utterly dominated the Ivy League for the last 3 years. He was a left guard in 2021, moved to left tackle in 2022, where he was first team all Ivy League. And then in 2023, he was dominating the first 4 games until he had a season-ending quad injury that'll hamper what he can do in the offseason draft process. But we've seen the tools. Even if you're looking at him as like maybe a developmental project, like we've seen guys like that, like Braxton Jones when he was coming out of Southern Utah, ends up going in the 4th round because you look at his tools and you're like, freaking mamma mia, golly! Like the dude is a really good athlete, very, very, very flexible. The guy fires out of his stance, has ideal length for the position, hits like a brick, plays with that mean streak the NFL loves. The tools are there. When it comes to some of the like nitpicks, because I only got around to about 3 games of him, but still walked away mighty impressed. Obviously, you're concerned about the level of competition, but also at 6'5", you don't really expect those guys to have problems sinking, and you know he's a good athlete, but sometimes he gets caught waist bending every now and then. So that was just something I kind of noticed. But large part, this guy, he looks like someone worth taking a shot on, especially if you don't need him early. At number 9, I have Patrick Paul out of Houston. We're going straight to midday 2. It's a very, very good offensive line class in general, but he's coming in here 6'7", 315. His brother actually currently plays for the Washington Commanders at guard. You might have heard of him, Chris Paul. No, not in the NBA, but for the Commanders, the guard Chris Paul, where he was actually in at Tulsa. But son of a gun, man, this cat has been a starter essentially for 5 years. He started the final 3 games of the 2019 season, but was able to keep his red shirt. He was the starter for the first 2 games in 2020 before having a season-ending leg injury. But since 2021, he has been a freaking beast. First team all AAC, back-to-back. They moved to the Big 12. Guess what? First team. Freaking nuts. He's got great length. Presents a nice wide base. He's a tough obstacle to get around. Strong anchor in pass protection, and he does a good job resetting his anchor when he needs to, and his hand uses his hands to kind of maintain that leverage. Plays with some nasty to him, so you like that. Coaches have praised his leadership, his attitude, and he's got these athletic traits. He's got the size, he's got the length. I get why a lot of people like him. And the reason why I'm not on this bandwagon just yet, because I've seen people like talking top 50. I've seen back end of the first round, and I just can't get there with them. And maybe that changes after next week in Mobile. But he's a guy, again, I'm not going to fault him for suffering from the tall tackle problem of trying to get and maintain leverage. I get it. A lot of tall tackles deal with that issue, so that's not big to me. But I feel like he's very unpolished. The hands aren't consistent. Like he won't always hit his targets. He won't always use his hands independently. A lot of times his strikes are misplaced. I think a large part of that is like him attacking too wide, which at that point you're opening up your chest. I just call it the strike zone. You don't want defenders to get up in there under your pads. I think his footwork could definitely use a lot of work. He really feels top heavy. So I feel like, okay, there's a lot of traits there, but I feel better like top 75 rather than, oh man, back end of the first round. I'm not there yet when it comes to Patrick Paul, but nonetheless, looking like could be a very good prospect in terms of tools. At number 8, I got Kingsley Suamataia out of BYU, coming in at 6'6", 315 pounds. And I know you're gonna look at BYU and be like, oh, of course, man, they produce solid tackle prospects. You know, these guys are probably gonna be technicians and whatnot. They're not gonna be that athletically or physically appealing. But you'd be wrong, because he was former 5-star that went to Oregon but decided to transfer to BYU to be closer to home. He has been a starter the last 2 years. One year at right tackle and the next at left. He's got ideal frame, ideal length. He's strong. He's fast. There is a lot to like about Suamataia, man. Dude is a great athlete. He fires off the line exceptionally well. As a run blocker, he shows that nasty. It's important to the NFL. They want these guys to come in and just bury defenders 6 feet deep. They do. But on the flip side, it's the polish. It's the technician aspect when it comes to him. Like, the footwork needs some fine tuning. Like, he stops his feet on initial contact or when initiating contact. The foot quickness is there, but just too often you see him stopping his feet when getting an engagement. You look at how he uses his hands. He certainly could use his length a whole lot better. Like, he attacks with them wide hands, leaving the strike zone open for defenders to get up under his pads. He often gets caught reaching, trying to be first to the point of attack against quicker, craftier speed rushers, and then he just gets got. The dude needs a little bit of polish, but I think he's a bit more well put together than Patrick Paul. That's why I have him in my top 50 and not Patrick Paul. But all in all, I'm a big fan of Kingsley Suamataia. But before we get into number 7 on my list, you want to know more about these prospects? Well, good news for you. I have a draft guide. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet. So send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals. And guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase and it's a great way to support the channel. Number 7, Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. Coming in as a 3-star recruit from the 2020 class. Initially went to TCU where he redshirted, but he did have a start at fullback in 2021. Isn't that a little bit wild? Decided to say, hey, screw this place. I'm going to go find playing time elsewhere. So he goes to Oklahoma, where he started 5 games in 2022, with 4 on the right side at tackle and then 1 on the left. And then this year he started 10 games with 9, or he played in 10 games with 9 starts, but did suffer an undisclosed injury, so he missed a couple of games this year. But he was primarily on the right side. But he's coming in at 6'7", 237. So you're like, oh man, that he's got some size to him. You'd be right, but golly, for the weight, he carries it so well. He really does, because he's got a long frame. He looks good, but even better, he might be the most athletic tackle in this class. He moves exceptionally well. The foot quickness is nice. He can match quicker, faster edge rushers. He moves well laterally or when climbing to the second level. Like, he just shows flexibility. He's able to sink. Like, at 6'7", he doesn't really suffer from, like, dealing with leverage problems. It's just wild. As a run blocker, he fires off the line of scrimmage well. He's able to displace defenders when on the move and just turns that burst into power, man. Really does, man. He's shown good versatility that he has experience on the left and the right side. But I think this is another guy that's just very unpolished. Like, packs a ton of power in his frame, but doesn't really demonstrate overwhelming, like, power or strength at the point of attack. Like, I think his hands could be a bit more active. And while he does a decently job consistently, like, getting low, there are times that he will expose his chest, and it doesn't matter how low you can go. Like, this is limbo. If you're leaving your chest exposed, defenders are going to be able to get under your pads regardless. So again, this is something where, like, man, he just needs a lot of polish. I don't feel like he was as far along as Anton Harrison, someone who I absolutely loved last year, but I think the tools are probably a little bit better. So I kind of like him. Maybe, like, I've just started to accept, like, him at the back end of the first round if you're a team that doesn't really have many needs, and you could be looking to the future because maybe you're getting older at tackle. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe we could bring this guy in. He can play swing tackle for us early and be our long-term answer eventually. I've just kind of opened my mind to that as a possibility. I think still I like him early second round where there's a little less pressure there. But I get why people love him, man. And he could have a big year. I think he's going to be at the Senior Bowl as well. Nope. He is, never mind. That's on me. He has not accepted a All-Star Bowl invite. But nonetheless, I get why people like him. He's going to have a really good combine. At number 6, Jordan Morgan out of Arizona, coming in at 6'6", 320. Former 3-star recruit, coming out of Marana High School. This is around the corner from where I'm at. He did a little shot put in high school, which is good. I mean, hey, if you play offensive line and they say you're in track and field, you probably did a little bit of the discus, the shot put, or the javelin. He has, for the most part, man, has been a starter since 2021. 2021, he did miss part of the season at the beginning, but he started the final 11 games and has just been really good. Like, probably could have came out in last year's class, though I don't think he'd be considered this high. Like, people talked about him as maybe a day 2 pick, but he had a late season ACL injury, so decided to return. Had a great year, was once again back-to-back first-team All-Pac-12. And the dude, I get why people like him. Like, if you run a lot of outside zone, you run a lot of wide zone concepts, then yeah, this is the guy for you, man, because the movement skills are great. Like, he is very agile mover who plays with good balance, good strong core, sinks his hips well, and just does a good job establishing leverage versus power. You've seen good recognition when it comes to blitzes or stunts and twists and all that crazy nonsense. He just understands blocking angles, good kick slide, very nice in pass protection, showing great improvement as a run blocker. Like, again, a guy that has good movement skills, plays with quick feet, and he also possesses some nice power in his frame. And I just love guys that keep moving through contact. I really, really do. And he will keep moving his feet after initiating contact. I think regardless of position, it's a great trait to have. Now, arm length is going to be important if he's going to be viewed as a guard or as a tackle. We got some Matthew Bergeron type feels going on here where, like, we got to the Senior Bowl and then a lot of people were like, I feel like he's more of a guard than a tackle. Oh, why? Length is okay. So, like, I think length is going to be important for Morgan. There are times where He is late to get his hands on a defender. I think he just comes from a more arrested position. You kind of see it takes away from his power because like I feel like he kind of reels back, like where it's just like, dude, just go straight and pop those guys. Come on. And I mean, that was kind of one of my biggest notes outside of the length was like, I feel like he's a little docile with his hands early on in a rep, and sometimes he seems too content with stonewalling defenders rather than just kind of like go out and murder the kids. Don't clip that. All right, number 5, Amarius Mims out of Georgia, coming in at 6'7", 340, and straight up. I think offensive line coach is going to look at this cat and they're going to see if you could chisel an offensive tackle out of stone, it would probably look like Amarius Mims. It probably would. Athletic, powerful, long, all traits that I can't use to describe myself. But nonetheless, man, the big hiccup when it comes to Amarius Mims is experience and polish. Doesn't have a lot of polish because he doesn't have a lot of experience. This year was supposed to be his first full year as a starter, and unfortunately it kind of got shortened because of an ankle injury where he had tightrope surgery. He made it back in week 11 but re-aggravated in the SEC championship game. Then eventually he just opted out of the bowl game, and that just sucks, man, because this was a guy that was coming in with a lot of hype. Like, I had him as a potential top 10 player in this class because he was so dominant during the national championship game. He was so dominant during the playoff run last year. He truly was, and he did that against Ohio State. And then TCU, but TCU had Dylan Horton, man. Dylan Horton was really good last year. But it was impressive nonetheless. Like I said, man, he's strong, he's long, but the way he moves at 340 is darn near impressive. Now, unpolished, yes. The hand placement leaves a little bit to be desired. The hand usage leaves a little bit to be desired. And a lot of that, it's just... A lot of that is because, like, you look at his height and he'll just naturally struggle with depth and leverage. And when you're not using your hands well, then those things are going to kind of really stand out. So someone who's definitely going to be a first rounder, I have no doubts about it, unless like his test is just terrible for some reason. But the question is, where does he go? Where will he go? It's going to be an interesting ride. But before we get to number 4, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below, where we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. I already told y'all. I already put out my guards and center rankings earlier today, so go check those out. But let's go ahead. Let's get to number 4. And it's Taliese Fuaga out of Oregon State, coming in at 6'6", 334. He has started the last 2 years at right tackle and has been phenomenal. He was second team All Pac-12 back-to-back years. And someone that Alex from Hail Mary Sports, I love giving him shout outs. Fuaga was really high on his board to start the process off. Excuse me. And I was like, yeah, I can see why you like him. Oh, have him like 3rd, 4th round. Let's see him play this year. And then he played this year. And I was like, okay, Alex, you got it. You nailed it. This guy's a stud. He truly is, man. Decent length, but phenomenal strength. Like, probably one of the best run blockers in this class. His strength is insane. His drive blocking ability is nuts. He redirects his weight well, plays low with good leverage, shows that nasty mean streak, he will freaking seal defensive tackles with down blocks. Like, He don't care who you are, what you weigh, what you look like. He's gonna knock you out your shoes. Like, I mean, man, you go to UCLA game, man. He just washed poor Latu consistently out of the play. He just does a good job of it, man. He handles power rushers just so well. He handles all rushers, all takers, just so stinking well. And honestly, I think he moves exceptionally well. He was playing in a very zone-heavy blocking scheme there for the Ducks, and kind of zone-heavy, like inside zone. So you're going to see a lot of like gap and duo and whatnot. But regardless, like, he moves well. He can get moving in a hurry. Now, he has shown good improvements in pass protection from his 2022 to his 2023 film. You like that. Yeah, you get the occasional lunge where you'll get out in front of his feet, causes him not to be balanced. But I guarantee you most of these guys are going to struggle with that. And sometimes he will get got by quicker rushers. Like the feet are quick, but they're not like, I think, elite level foot quickness. That's not what we're talking about here. And I will say, so, like, some people might view him as guard, some might view him as tackle. I think he could do both. My only thing is he right side only? That's my probably one of my bigger questions when it comes to Fuaga. But regardless, like, phenomenal prospect here. Number 3, I got JC Latham out of Alabama, coming in at 6'6", 335 pounds. What I said about Amarius Mims when it comes to length, strength, size, and movement skills, just etched out of stone. Basically say the same thing for JC Latham here, man. He's been phenomenal the last 2 seasons for Alabama. He's played a little bit at guard too, if you go back to his freshman tape where he had to fill in for a injured Emil Ikor. And like, the dude's just good, man. He's a big boy. He's so quick at 335. What is it? 335 pounds. You see the flexibility out of his stance, the ability to remain low. His feet are quick, and he packs a mean punch. He really, really does, man. He just hits defenders inside with so much power. It basically just looks like they got shot. The shotgun, bah, knocks him back. He's just oozing tools. And I thought he's done a solid enough job polishing a lot of the things he needed to work on this season. He became much better as a run blocker. He really, really did. The hand placement it's still got a ways to go, but it was much better this season. Sinking low, you could work on that, but nonetheless, man, like, a guy that was just phenomenal this year for the Crimson Tide, with his one hiccup this year being the Texas game, and all in all, wasn't even that bad of a game. Penalties is something to look out for. He had 7 on the year, or at least was flagged 7 times this season. But I think as his hands get better, or like his hand usage gets better, that'll be something we won't have to worry about as much. Got him at number 3 as a top 20 prospect. But now we're talking the top 2. We're going to start with Olu Fashanu out of Penn State. Got him as a top 10 prospect in this class, coming in at 6'6", 319. Former 4-star recruit, played basketball in high school, volunteers at homeless shelters. I love it, dude. I love it. What a guy. And could have probably came out in 2022, but he was like, yeah, I wasn't expecting to be an NFL prospect, let alone a first-round NFL prospect that year. I thought, I'd do my junior year, I just go to my senior year and, worry about that. But no, here's everyone talking, and you know what? A lot of that happened fast, but the plan was always to finish school. And hey, dude, props to him. Had a solid year this season where he was first team All-American. And he's got length, he's got size, he's got athleticism for the position. He could throw pretty darn good punches, and he does from a very solid anchor, strong base, and he just flashes quickness. Like, the movement skills are top notch. They're out of this world. He's shown the ability to go one-on-one with almost anyone. He's hardly ever put on ice skates, though. We'll talk about this Ohio State game this year in a little bit. But it's easy to see why people love him because as a mover, he just moves so well, both vertically and physically. He's a student of the game. He's received praises from coaches for his work ethic and film study. However, he does lack that finisher mentality. It's just something that, I don't know, maybe you're just born with. I don't know, maybe it's something you gotta earn. It doesn't feel like he has that mean streak in him more times than not. There are also times in the run game it feels like he could get lower, that he kind of gets out leveraged, and he's less of a striker. He's more of a reactive type of defender, or more of a, like, it's wild because like when he does throw strikes, it's like they're pretty darn impressive, but it feels like he's more content with being a wall than the actual final boss. Like, oh no, you want to get to the Corvette, you gotta go through me. Pop, 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 pop. And more so, you will not touch him. You will have to go through me. Which unfortunately was kind of the case in the Ohio State game this year. Like, it looked like he really struggled with power. Like, JT Tuimoloau gave him some problems. Really, really did. And I think some of that was leverage, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't like he took a massive step back. It really wasn't. Like, it was still a really good year for him. He's still a top prospect, but got to do a little nitpicking when we're talking about these top guys. Because at number one, Joe Alt was darn near perfect, I would say, this year, man. Coming in at 6'8", 322, former 4-star from the 2021 class, and he played in every game in 2021 at tight end and offensive tackle. Made 8 starts at left tackle. And then in 2022, made all 13 starts at left tackle, first team All-American, and said, hey, that was so nice, I'm going to do it twice, and basically did the same thing in 2023. The dude's got a massive frame, 6'8", wingspan's over 7 feet, and he uses his length really well. He has heavy hands. He just takes out defenders from the play entirely. He throws these strong strikes. I love the alliteration there. Typically lines up in a 3-point stance, and he gets out of it so quickly. You love to see just the quick twitch movement from a player his size. He just plays with light feet, and he has that mean streak. As a run blocker, he's got that little bit of nasty that you want to see. Excellent movement skills, and really probably made for any blocking scheme. Again, let's nitpick a little bit. Can be susceptible to the bull rush sometimes. He does maybe initially concede more ground than you would like, but he does a really good job of recovering when those times arise. And there are times where he will let defenders get into his strike zone, but he does a good job of freeing himself with powerful punches. The hands remain active. He's just darn near a very close to perfect prospect, in my opinion, when it comes to the tackle position. Big reason why he is number one. But let me know what you think in the comment section below, because that's it for the video. Go ahead, do that YouTube thing. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.